central bank, that is Central Bank of Sri Lanka's, the hierarchy, I mean the governor appointed by the president is always dutiful to the country. He is more concerned about the national economy and the national monetary policy. However, the long-serving employees of the central bank who are not politically involved with the government or the government-affiliated trade unions, actually they are being like they go after the US influences, their US contacts and European Union and UK contacts, and thereby they try to impress the others in the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. These employees are not political appointments. They are working people who draw salaries from the central bank. So a governor cannot remove them because they are working in the central bank under employment contracts. So if they are removed, they will go to Supreme Court and petition the central bank and claim damages from the central bank. So now the situation is that because these employees are being used by the US certain people, inside people, and they try to take control here. Now, for example, in today news, lankacnews.com, former senior deputy governor of the central bank, W.A. Vijayawardena, he says central bank must reveal the truth. Well, those are all lies, falsehood, because after all, Mr. Vijayawardena is part of the central bank system. He couldn't make it to the position of governor because he was not caring towards the Sri Lanka's monetary system, but he was talking about American monetary system here. So we don't need such central bankers. We need central bankers to support our economy, whatever the needs of the politicians, because politicians are elected democratically. Because I remember there are default payments now, as said today, nearly 3 million for my books, which I have wrote for the Institute of Bankers of Sri Lanka, which is under Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Nearly 3 million rupees, which the Institute of Bankers have sold, without my permission, but they collected the money to their accounts, had not been settled to me. Nearly 3 million, that happened in 2004 or 2003 period, 2001 to 2003 period. So if that happens to me, what about the government then? Government also faces the same situation with the central bank employees. So now, for example, regarding this matter, I have taken it to the, make a complaint about this matter. And subsequently, what happened was, this matter, I took it up with the Kolpiti police station. At that time in 2003 or 2002, I made 2004, I think. I lodged a complaint against the senior deputy deputy governor of the central bank. At that time, since he was not the governor, he is not a political appointment, he is a worker in the central bank. Normally, the governor is an external appointment like Professor, W.D. Lakshman. So, because that reflects the politicians, commitments to the country and the people. That's why an external person is appointed as the governor. But the central bank employees, well, in this case, Mr. Vijayawardena, W.A. Vijayawardena, at that time, the deputy governor. But still, I complained to the Kolpiti police station in 2004. I went there, and there was an inspector of police who listened to me. I told there's a payment due, a large amount of payment for my unauthorized, selling of my books and non-payment. And then this particular inspector of police was very kind to me, like a father. He told me, son, don't make a complaint. If I take your complaint, sometimes I can lose my job or I can get killed. But then I said, please go to district court and make a court case. But I said I cannot do this because this is fraud. You can't, it's not a matter of contractual obligation that is being violated so that I can go to district court. But I said this is fraud. Without my permission, selling my books and collecting the money to the Institute of Bankers, which is ungoverned by the central bank. Then I pointed out this is wrong, this is a fraud. So that's why I'm making this complaint. So he agreed and he took the complaint. But after about 1 year, this particular inspector of police was very good. He was very kind to me and a very good person. He took the complaint made by me against Mr. W.A. Vijayawardena, former deputy, governor of the central bank. So thereafter, what happened was, about a few months later, there was like a LTT suicide, like a pretext bomber who had come to the next, adjoining the Kolpiti police station, there was Mr. Douglas Devananda's Ministry of Rehabilitation of Sri Lankan Tamil refugees, and subsequently, what happened was she had behaved, the suicide bomber from the LTT, Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, had behaved in a suspicious manner inside this his ministry, like pretending like he's going to kill Mr. Douglas Devananda. So therefore, I think his bodyguards are brought into the Kolpiti police station, right? And then when what happened was at that time, this particular IP had been given the responsibility to look into this suicide bomber, and then she exploded, and this particular IP who took the complaint against Mr. W. Vijayawardena had been killed, right? So that is how the central bank take revenge. And now, in that case, I protested at that time to the Sri Lanka army. I asked them, if you know a suicide bomber, probably that is why you took this person out of the Ministry of Rehabilitation of Mr. Douglas Devananda, joining the Sri Lanka police station in Kolpiti to, to Sri Lanka police station, Kolpiti police station. Why did you take him there? Because if you have a procedure, if you suspect someone to be a suicide bomber, I gave them a procedure to be followed also. I faxed it immediately to the army commander that time, and that time army commander's military secretary called me and say thank you so much for your procedure, and the commander wants to thank you. Commander of the army wants to talk to you, but I said I'm very busy right now, I cannot talk, but let me help you again. So why in that procedure I have mentioned to them, if you find somebody like a suicide bomber, first make sure that get his immediately, if you clearly recognize this person is going to explode and kill him or herself to harm others, immediately you cannot do anything, because their suicide kit is in the chest. So if you shoot him on the chest, it will explode, right? Then no point, the harming of others would be done anyway. Then I told them, if you are very certain if someone is a suicide bomber, make that person to raise the hands. But if you cannot do that, because they know obviously. But in that case, only option is to shoot him on the head, right? Because their brain will be disabled and they cannot do anything to the suicide bomb that they are wearing. So I gave a step-by-step, I think about 10-step procedure to them to follow with regard to captured, most probable, not like really alleged suicide bomber, but mostly clear certain suicide bombers how to handle it. For that, I got the thanks on behalf of the army commander. At that time, in I think 2004, this incident happened, and army commander's military secretary called me and thanked me, and even army commander wanted to talk to me at that time. This is the situation at that particular incident. Also, I think this LTT suicide bomber had been misdirected by LTT under some American influence to the LTT to go and kill the IP who took the complaint against Mr. W. Vijayawardena at the Sri Lanka police station in Kolpiti. So if those things happen, no politicians can work with the central bank employees. They take full control over the Sri Lanka's foreign reserves and the monetary policy. This is the situation in the country.